Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. A word of warning, I think you have another very large earthquake coming closer to the New Zealand Auckland region, possibly of a magnitude 8 or greater. The reason being that along the chromatic arch, which is part of the Tonga Trench, there's been some very large earthquakes, multiple earthquakes, not aftershocks, but multiple earthquakes, sometimes called either multiple earthquakes or doublets. This is being caused because of the Pacific Plate subsiding underneath the Australian Plate, and it's being impeded. Normally, large earthquakes release the energy, the stress that's built up, but this has not happened here. When a large chunk of the Earth's crust is stuck, this will impede a very large earthquake. It will impede the main rupture, which I think we had going on up here until we had the magnitude 8.1 earthquake. Yeah, there was, 3 tsunami warnings from the buildup, and then the 8.1 earthquake that occurred. The chromatic arch is part of a recycling process of the Earth's crust. It subsides underneath the Australian Plate and then comes up as a back arch basin. A volcanism. When this subducting crust gets stuck, you're going to have multiple earthquakes until the main shock, which in this case was at magnitude 8.1. But it's going on again. Or I should say, still happening, but farther south of the chromatic arch. This time closer to Auckland in New Zealand. On the 4th, there was a magnitude 7.3. And then that was followed by a magnitude 6.3, which occurred yesterday, not far from Gisborne. On WikiLeaks, they have an explanation of what doublet earthquakes are. Multiple earthquakes are believed to be the result when asperities are such as large chunks of the crust stuck in the rupture fault, temporarily impede the main rupture. Unlike normal earthquakes, where it is believed the earthquake releases enough of the tectonic stress driving it that it will take decades to centuries to accumulate enough stress to drive the next earthquake. Multiple quakes have released only part of the pent-up stress when the rupture hits, that blockage. This releases the stress across the asperity, which may fail within seconds, minutes, months, or even years. Studies have shown that about 20% of very large earthquakes, magnitude of 7.5, are doublets, and that in some cases 37 to 75% of earthquakes are multiplets. So I believe this is what we got going on here along the chromatic arch with all these earthquakes that have been occurring within the last week. 143 of them. A chunk of the Earth's crust is stuck down here as it tries to subside. And I think the next large earthquake is going to be down here in this location. Doublets have occurred before in this location. Let me bring this out and take you up to the Solomon Islands. In 2008, there was a magnitude 8.1 earthquake. Again, this was caused by the subduction of the Pacific Plate underneath the Australian Plate, but this was a doublet. But what was unusual about this area is an area where the Pacific Plate is actually sliding over, not subducting, and it's called the Woodlark Plate. And this is near Papua New Guinea. This is an area, too, that they believe that was caused by multiple earthquakes prior to that earthquake. And another thing that I found when talking about this earthquake, USGS said that large earthquakes are common in the region, though the section of the plate that produced the April earthquake had not caused any quakes of a magnitude 7 or larger since the early 20th century, said USGS. Keep telling you, earthquakes are increasing around the world. In 2016, they had a magnitude 7.5. 2019, a 7.6. I'll try and make this larger. Yeah, no earthquakes larger than a magnitude 7 since the early 20th century. But that seemed to have all changed in 2007. Anyways, I hope you guys are prepared for the possibility of another very large earthquake with a tsunami warning. Please stay safe, and I will talk to you later. God bless y'all. Bye.